I cannot help but articulate in a flowery way. In my second attempt as well, I wasn't convinced. The scientist in me wasn't convinced that I should write a normal essay. I could have written on, is science and technology panacea for growth? Is gross national happiness more important than GDP? But I chose a topic that you should be the change you want to see in the world. A quote by Mahatma Gandhi. So this time I got 130 or 250, again more than 50%. But the percentage of marks in essay has come down from 56% to 52%. Luckily, my marks in other subjects and interview were good enough, so it kind of made up for that. But had I written essay on a more conventional topic, I would have even got the first rank. So what I'm trying to tell you is that sometimes, in fact most of the times, you should listen to the people. We all have our own journey, our own struggle, but you should listen to what experienced people say. Alright, so many people told me that essay you should attempt in a given way. I still did not listen. And I'm not sure if I write my next attempt, if I had to, I would have heard. Because we all come with our own follies, we all have our mistakes and things like that in life. But in this attempt in interview, as I said, that I went with a facade. I never argued with anything. For instance, the first question I was asked in interview was that cooking is one of your hobbies. Tell me synonyms for boiling. So boiling as a verb does not really have synonyms. But I said, ma'am, are you asking me about the processes where something similar to boiling is involved? The board member said, no, I want to know the synonyms of boiling. So I said poaching, blanching, simmering, stuff like that. 5 words I said. So she opened her diary and said 25 words. And none of them meant boiling. I could have argued that would have set the tone for the rest of my interview. I would not have got 204 and 275 in interview. So you need to learn that sometimes, it will happen in your corporate career also, right? You would see that people who are your bosses, they are not really up to the mark. There would be moments when you think that you are the eponymous Joan of Arc, you are the most righteous person on this earth, and here your boss is trying to tell you something which is not correct. But then, that's life, right? Like I said, the world is Darwinian. So the next question in interview was, it was about my interest in music. So I had written in my detailed application form that I like to listen to melody-based music. So they said, why melody-based music? Why not some other form of music? So I said that I just cannot connect to electronic dance-based music, and though my cousins and my younger brother does tell me, they do tell me about different genres of music, but classical music is what I like the most. The next question was, why is Lata Mangeshkar called the queen of melody and not someone like, say, Asha Bhosle or Shreya Ghoshal from recent singers? I answered that. But the interview was very purposive and discussion oriented. From one answer of mine, they came up with another question. Then they asked me a lot of questions on management as well. They asked me about the BCG model, and none of the people sitting over there had management background. So I was surprised that how come they asked me, they asked me about this thing. They asked me the full form of Amul. I had forgotten it that time, so I came up with Anand Milk Union and something like that. They asked me the full form of Noida because my first company was Smart Cube. It was in Noida. It's a good habit in life to be very curious. So I keep on Googling things. I keep on taking snapshots on my phone of things which I think that are interesting enough and to be made notes of. I keep on preparing a diary. Keep on noting interesting things. And Noida also, I remember when I had joined Smart Cube, I had Googled Smart Cube, I had Googled Noida. I knew it was new industrial development area, but somehow it skipped my mind. So, but good thing about civil services interview is not a test of your knowledge, it's a test of your personality. To all the questions that are asked you can say you do not know, and you can still get very good marks. A friend of mine, she got 220 and she could not answer most of the questions. So goal setting in life is something which you have to take in your stride. We all are different people. As I said, we all have our strengths, we all have our weaknesses. So you need to see what works best for you. But still, you should not get disillusioned. You should not, think that you will do whatever you want to. You should learn from others, learn from the mistakes of others. You should learn from more experienced people. And sometimes it really does not make sense to take the road less traveled. So, when there's an easier way out, you should do that. So right now, I don't think whatever I'm saying, it makes much sense to you, because I don't think many of you would be writing civil services. Still, I would urge those of you who think that they can serve the nation in this way and through this channel to take up this exam. The exam has really changed and metamorphosized, and it's not as difficult as it used to be. It's very analytical in nature. They would ask you questions like why the cars these days are made up of fiber and not metal. So any person worth their salt who drives and who is into automobile would tell you that. And there would be questions, for instance, on economics, that economic honor students would also not be able to answer. So I read Peterson and Lewis at my time and Dominic Salvatore for microeconomics. I could answer that question. So the way they are looking at this exam is changing. They are trying to emulate French and American civil services. And you don't really have time in the exam to think over a question. You just have to write. It's like you're taking part in Miss World or Miss Universe. You have to, you're given less than a minute to think. You have to write 28 words per minute in the exam. So whatever you want to do in life, be very focused, be very sincere. You should have a sense of duty, discipline and devotion in you, ingrained in you. And you should not be disheartened by failures. You should not compare yourself with others. Unfortunately, we live in a world, Facebook generation we are. We keep comparing ourselves with people who are going to Hawaii for a trip or, Honolulu. But here I am sitting in Greater Noida doing this PGDM course. My life is not too happening. If you start doing that, it's a vicious circle. It's a quagmire of sorts, and you would not be able to extricate yourself out of that situation. So, see if you're a better person today than you yesterday were, and have you really improved as a person? At this stage of life, you would be very materialistic, but that Maslow's need hierarchy, that is for real. There would come a point of time in your life when you would know that self-actualization is for real. You would not be happy with money. I wasn't. KPMG was offering me a salary of £8,000 per month, which is very astronomical. Some at UK. I didn't want to go there. That's not my calling. I see my cousins working there, toiling very hard. They just party on the weekend, they get drunk, and that's a life to waste. So, if you have any questions, I would be most happy to answer them.
Just give it one more. Mike, please. And Mike.
I am an aspiring student who wants to write the UPSC exam after I complete my graduation. I am right now studying English and Political Science in my school, in my college. So
which college do you go to?
I go to Deshbandi College,
Okay.
in Delhi University.
Okay.
I just wanted to take your opinion. Which subject should I use for my optional subject, because we just have to choose one
Yeah.
right now. And my second question is the GK part.
Mhm.
They are giving more importance to the general knowledge now, as per the, I checked there are 4 papers for the general knowledge.
Yes.
So I just want to ask that how should I do GK is a subject which does not
Yeah.
get over how much I will study. So I just wanted to ask that how should I prepare for the general knowledge, because it is so wide and so many topics are there.
Thank you for your question. I'll take it in parts. The first question you had was about the optional. So you should take an option which you think you can really sustain, because UPSC is a long kind of journey. It means there are very few people, lucky people, who can crack the exam in 1 year. But yeah, optional should be something which you feel comfortable in. I opted for political science and law in my first attempt because my graduation subject biochemistry does not really feature in the UPSC list. Management is a very vast subject. In 2 years of PGDM, you are not taught as many things as the UPSC expects from you. So you should look up at previous year papers. I looked up at management papers, so I saw it coming that I could fail it very easily, because they would ask you one question for 40 marks on Black-Scholes model. If you were not comfortable with that formula while you prepare for the exam, you could fail. So political science I took because it overlaps a lot with general studies. You need to study about organizations like TRIPS, TRIMS, WTO, IMF, Constitution of India, India's freedom struggle. Part is also there. Then you get to read about people like Plato, Aristotle, Machiavelli. So I think every person worth their salt should read about them, otherwise what's the meaning to the life? So that helps you in GS paper as well. And coming to the optionals, and the part that GK is so vast, the time has now passed when they would ask you what is the depth of Mariana Trench. They don't ask those silly questions anymore. They would ask you that in winters, at places where temperature goes to -20 degrees Celsius, aquatic life continues. Because water has a property that its maximum density is at 4 degrees Celsius. It starts freezing from above, and below it remains in the liquid format. So those kind of answers they look forward to. So the paper is very analytical now. In fact, people who are good at math, they ask class 10th level math. The paper's difficulty level is not even 1% of CAT level, right? So in prelim exam there are two papers. Paper 2 is CSAT. They ask mental ability, mathematics and English in that. In paper 1 they ask history, geography, constitution, economics, science and technology and current affairs. In paper 1, no matter what you do, you cannot get more than 100 out of 200. I attempted all the questions, I got 113. In paper 2, engineers especially, the guys from IITs and IIMs, they get 180 very easily. I got 183. So the cutoff was 241, combination of two papers. It's very achievable. If I randomly select 10 people from you guys and ask you to write UPSC prelim exam, 3 or 4 will clear it, without any preparation. Because paper 1 is so tricky in the sense, if you have read about Buddhism and Jainism, everything about it, the question that would come in the exam is that there is a particular statue of Buddha where his mudra of sitting is slightly different from the other mudras. He's sitting like this. So what does that mean? You have not looked at that statue, you haven't read about that in any book. So you have to take reasonable guesses. So that's how it works. And plus they ask very basic questions. For instance, if you have read about Cripps mission, cabinet mission, you should know what was it for. You should know why were the freedom fighters opposing Rowlatt Act? And what was not good with Ilbert Bill? So those kind of questions. They won't ask you who out of these was born, in the 15th century. They don't ask those questions anymore because they don't really serve the purpose. Now the breed of bureaucrats that we had in the last 20-30 years, many of them were very corrupt. Right? Those who were not, they were made to face the music. So they are warming up to it. They are waking up and smelling the coffee. So in mains exam also, paper 1 is for history, geography, paper 2 is for constitution.